everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome everybody. Today I'm looking at the Hot Wheels Star Wars Poe Dameron's X-Wing Starfighter with closed wings. Now this particular fighter was first seen in Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Now I've said it before, I do enjoy Poe Dameron's X-Wing's color scheme. I think it's a very interesting color choice to use for a starship because black blends in with space. You know, without sensors, this would be extremely hard to see or track. Now in the canon, Poe Dameron's T-70 X-Wing, also called Black 1, is black with a sensor scattering ferrosphere paint. And to me that's very cool, I like that idea very much. Now getting back to the model, for its size we're looking at 3 inches long, and that should be no shock to anybody because we've already looked at the white version, which is the same exact mold, nothing's different. The only thing that's different about these two ships is the paint scheme. So in this video I'm not going to spend too much time on the mold, but we're going to have a nice glance over as we usually do. So everybody should know how the videos go by now. We're going to take a look at the mold, the paint, put on a stand, compare it, and then we'll be done. So let's get moving. Alright, let's get this video started looking at the mold. Like in all my reviews, I will go over all the major sections of the ship, and then I'm sort of going to briefly go through the finer details with a close-up, because technically I already reviewed this ship. So if you want to see a highly detailed review looking very closely at the mold, click the link in the description below for the T-70 X-Wing. So for the major parts of this particular ship, we have our nose cone, our fuselage, canopy, astromech droid, and S-foil mechanisms going to the back. All in all, the ship is very nicely done. You can see some line work and modules. Very nice. Now, besides the center section, we also have our engines with our intakes, and they go right back to the aft section, looking very nice in my opinion. And I love where the thrusters come out because they are recessed, looking good. And here we can see the aft section of the S-foil mechanisms. Pretty cool. On the bottom of the vessel, we have 3 rivets holding it together, a connector port for the stand, and copyright crap on the wings. Speaking of the wings, we do have some nice line work and paneling. Very nice little modules here and there. As for the center, we have some beautiful angles and recessed line work. Looking good. Now the line work on the bottoms of the wings do carry over to the top. Very nicely done in my opinion. And finally, we have our 4 laser cannons. Now mine is a little warped here, but I'm sure with a little hairdryer and TLC, they'll be right back to where they should be. So now let's get a brief close-up view of the details. Alright, having a brief close look at the X-Wing, we'll start with the nose cone. Looking good. We have a little recess in the front. Coming to the main body of the ship, we can see some line work, modules, some pretty nice stuff here and there. Pretty cool. For the canopy, we do have some detailing right there. Looking good. On the bottom, nice recessed line work, connector port for the stand, rivet holding it together, and some nice angles here. Pretty cool. Now, I am going to admit, I might have missed this on my other reviews, but these X-Wings should have torpedo tubes or launchers, and it should be one right here and one right here. And if you look close, you can see a little indent there, right above my finger. So that's pretty neat that they added that. You can see it better on this side. Pretty interesting. Now moving on to the top of the vessel, we have our astromech. Our S-foil mechanisms are very detailed. Look at all those doodads. Some plating on here, looking good. And then the aft section with more of our S-foils. So moving on, we have our engine sections, which look really good. I like all the little detailing on here and line work. Pretty awesome. Now the fronts, which are one of my favorite parts. Very nicely done. I love the molding on the whole wing. Very cool. For the aft sections, we could see that they are recessed. And then we have some molding on the sides. Not much, but it is there. For the wings themselves, we have some nice line work, little modules here and there, and some paneling. Very cool. I like that quite a bit. And it's the same for this side. They're basically mirrored. On the bottom, more line work, copyright crap, a rivet holding it together, detailing here and there on the wing as well as the engine. Looking good. And that's the same for the bottom wing. Then we have our laser cannons, which we've seen them before. They're pretty good. They have some molding on the back, coming down the barrel, and then we have our tips right here. Looking good. Well, maybe I wasn't that brief, but you know, I guess I just love talking about these ships so much. But if I did miss anything on the mold, make sure to check out the other review in the description below to see anything I might have missed. So now let's take a look at the paint on this beauty. And now looking at the paint on Poe Dameron's X-Wing, we have about 6 different colors on this bad boy. First up is a nice matte black for the main color of the ship. In my opinion, looking very good. You can see the light doesn't reflect off of it at all. Very nice. Pretty cool. Now the second color we have is a nice orange, and as you saw before, it does reflect a little light, which isn't bad. But that orange is around the engines, on the wings, on the fuselage, bottoms of the engines, and also the bottoms of the wings. Pretty nice. Now another color we have is a nice gray on the wings and also the bottoms. We have a whitish gray for the astromech. Pretty nice. Then we have silver for the canopy. The engine intakes. Looking good, and you can see how the light just reflects off there. Oh, we have gray right here too. How'd I miss that? And then we also have silver for the engines in the aft, and the aft of the laser cannons. And there's no silver on the bottom. And our final color is a nice black. Now it's not very glossy, but it is on top of the silver paint, so I guess that helps a little bit. But it's very nicely done. All the windows there on the canopy. Very cool. All in all, a nicely painted piece. So now let's put this baby back on a stand, compare it to some other ships, and then we'll be done. And just like other Hot Wheels ships, it comes with a translucent stand. This is one of the older ones. Peg it into port like so, hear that click, and just like that, you're good to go. And if you're a kid, you can put your finger in here like so, and you can fly it around. Pew 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 pew. And now for a quick size comparison with the Hot Wheels Star Wars Poe Dameron's X-Wing Starfighter with closed wings, seen in the center. First, on the left-hand side, we have the Resistance T-70 X-Wing in the white and blue color scheme. Very nice. Same exact model as Poe Dameron's, just a different color scheme. Pretty nice nonetheless. And then on the right-hand side, we have Poe Dameron's X-Wing Starfighter with open wings. Very nice looking ship. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I do think the wings are a little bit too thick, but what are you going to do? These are made for children. All in all, some interesting looking ships here, and if you want to see reviews of any of these, I'll put the links in the description below. So that does it today for my review of the Hot Wheels Star Wars Poe Dameron's X-Wing Starfighter with closed wings. Now, this was one of the first ships Hot Wheels released, as you can tell by their stand that you could put your finger through. And it's not a bad mold by any means. Now, if I had to nitpick this particular ship, the only thing I could say I don't like is the thickness of the wings. They should be a little thinner. But again, these are made for children, they're made to be played with. So I can see why they didn't go for the realistic route and went with a more thicker plastic. Besides that though, the mold is very nice, the paint is great, and the stand, you know, if you're a kid, you can put your finger in it and play with it. It is what it is. I do prefer the newer collector-friendly stands, but that's just me. So if you're a fan of the Disney Star Wars trilogy, or the Resistance, or even Poe Dameron, I fully recommend picking this bad boy up. So that's everything I have to say about this black beauty today. If you enjoyed my review, click that like button. And if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.